All right, welcome to my live Christmas drawing for October 5th, 2022. We're in October now. It's finally Halloween spooky month upon us. But I'm not going to be doing a spooky drawing today. Today's going to be the usual Christmas drawing. Just want to make sure all my settings are good here. Microphone's working properly before I start. I don't want to get too far into it and have it not working. So, today's piece that I'm going to be doing is a classic decoration that I grew up with in the family, and it's from the 60s. I believe it's a 1960s music box type of a thing. So I'll just start sketching it, and then you'll see what I'm talking about once it gets a little more finished. Basically, if you go to YouTube and you just type in like dancing Santa music box, something like that, it'll come up. Again, it's from the 60s. It's been a part of my Christmas growing up forever. My parents still have it, so today I'm going to draw it. And obviously, I'm going to add my own little style to it, so it's not going to be identical, but you'll get the point. So from what I remember, the roof on it like this, the snow, it's like it's got some glitter on it or something maybe. So I'm trying to think how I'm going to do the glitter. I might just do some white sparkles on it everywhere. It has a little drawer down on the bottom. I don't know what you would really use this for, besides a Christmas decoration, obviously, but like this little drawer. What do you put in there? I don't know. But then it has a window on the front. And it's a 3D box, maybe I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 inches deep. It's not that big, but again, the box, I don't know the point of it. All I remember is there's a little music sheet down here and some trumpets. Just some, I don't remember what the proper term for this type of, it'll come to me in a minute, but this design, it sounds like, I don't know if it begins with a P or something. Filigree, maybe that's what it is. It's just basic filigree on the piece there, and some holly. I'll draw them in a little better when I'm doing the coloring, but that'll be holly there. And that's basically it for the bottom for the drawer. And then the whole thing's like a brick house. So the way the scene's set up, you're looking into somebody's house as Santa's, I guess, dropping off the toys, but the whole thing's like a brick house. The one that we have, that my parents have, it's in pretty good shape still for all these years of us as little kids sitting there playing with it. It's actually not too bad of shape. But the inside, it doesn't have like hard outlines. So I'm trying to think of a different way I could do this piece. I might just kind of do it like a watercolory type of painting and not do any of the outlines. So that's kind of why I'm doing a little heavier on the pencil work here. And then I'm going to draw Santa in on top of it later. So you have your tree back here, bunch of presents in the front, and a staircase in the back. So, you know what? There is a spot on the bottom. Let me move this up here. So one thing you could do, I'm just going to highlight this and just move that up a little higher, because I forgot there is a little for whatever reason, on the floor that Santa is standing on. You could see it. It's a wooden floor, but there's just a banner in the front. Now, this is the weirdest thing of this piece to me. It just tells you what it is. So there's a little sticker on there, and it just says musical dancing Santa. So that'll be on there. Then the hardwood floors here, you got a banister and the steps that go up and a window up in the top. And then Santa's going to be in front of all this. And the way this thing works, there's a little wind-up knob on the back. And you wind it up, and then when you open the door, Santa dances, and he's jointed. So he's got like all joint spots on him, his feet, his waist, his neck, his arms, and he just kind of bounces around. Kind of weird, like bouncing. It's not really dancing, but if you've seen this old type of music box, you'll know what I'm talking about. And we've got a couple more presents there, and then we're going to lighten this up a little bit. And I'm going to add a new layer for Santa, just because I don't want to have him disappear into the background there, especially when I'm coloring it in. So Santa's just your classic plump Santa. Sometimes when we would use this, like the feet would get stuck in a weird position and Santa would be sitting there bouncing around for a little bit before he finally broke free. So that was always a fun thing to get Santa back to normal. And then he's got some classic Santa mittens on. And then in this hand, he's holding a bell. And I don't know if he's decorating the tree with it or what his plans are with that one. Not too sure. But then in this hand, he's, for whatever reason, holding another tree. But then there's also, this one's going to go on the, let me hide Santa for a second and bring this layer back up, because there is also a clock on the wall over here. And let's see. Just a regular clock on the wall. We got your numbers. And the time on the clock is 12:15. Okay. Back to Santa. So let's lighten up that layer again, and we're going to bring Santa back, and we're going to go work on him. All right, so we got classic Santa hat here. Big beard. I'm going to zoom in on Santa's face here because he's a classic Santa with a big jolly old red nose. Some big cheeks. His hair covers most of his face. Some big bushy eyebrows. And, whoops. And then a classic thing about the old-timey Santas, he's got the old, I don't know if he's excited, if he's ho-ho-hoing, or what. But he's excited about Christmas. He's excited about that tree decorating that he just did. He's hoping that the kids are excited Christmas morning when he sees them. All right. So that's your basic gist of the Santa Claus here. And again, he's got little dots on him for all the joints that bounce when he moves. So I think we're going to leave it like that. So for the coloring process, we're going to hide Santa there. Then we're going to add another layer. And we're going to put it underneath the Santa. but above the outline. And then we're going to start coloring this in. So for the coloring, like I said, I'll do the outline of the house in a solid color just because that's how it would look. But then the artwork in the house itself, that one's going to be kind of a watercolor. It's the only way I could really describe it. So we're going to go to this one and we'll start working on the outline. Keep bumping that eraser. Normally when I do my daily drawings, if I'm drawing a vertical picture like this, I'll have it turn the other way so it's a little easier to draw. But for the purposes of doing it on the live, I have to do it sideways, so it's a little different than what I'm used to. And these are music notes. It's a music book. And then back to this filigree here. So this is just going to be, I'm going to kind of do a generic version of it. And then the whatever lines, and then holly. That's a little too big there, so we'll do some holly. All right, that's good. And then finish up the window outline here, and then we'll switch it over to do the color work. And the brick lines are white, so I'm going to leave them. Yeah, it looks pretty good for now. Now we're going to work on the background. So the background of the house is yellow. But I want to see maybe like a painting if I do a watercolor. I kind of like gouache. Gouache paint is a mixture. It's kind of in between acrylic and watercolor. It gives you a nice kind of washed out look. So I think I like that. So what I'm going to do is reference this layer, then add another layer behind it. That way I don't cover my black lines. They'll show through. And I'm going to just kind of fill in the background, and then we'll kind of work from there. But the only thing with the gouache paint is you're going to be able to see through it like with the other colors. I'll explain what I mean in a second here. So now, like when I go to do this tree, whoops. Let's see, when I go to do this tree, the paint will kind of be mixed in with the yellow a little bit. And that's kind of hard to tell, but we'll leave it like that. Then the star, we're just going to do a white star on the top. The presents, we're going to have a white present down here with a pink ribbon and a yellow present right next to it. Some of this is going to be covered up anyway by Santa, but I'm just drawing it now just so I don't forget. All right, and we'll do a red ribbon on the little yellow present. The gouache isn't too bad. See, if I zoom in, you can kind of see right where that green overlaps the red and the yellow overlaps the red ribbon there. It kind of has that orange color. But it doesn't look too bad. I was thinking it would be a little bit worse. All right, now we'll do the window in the background. So it's a snowy scene out there. So let's do a white window. Let's bring it to full white. And we're going to have garland and everything around it. So there's your window. Let's go to brown. I'll do the window sill and the trim work. Let's see. We'll do some of the garland around the window. I don't remember what else is on. I want to say there's something mixed in with that, but I don't remember. So now we're going to go back to white. I don't really know how I'm going to do this, but we'll see if we can. Good enough. It's kind of throwing stuff together, seeing what works. So we're going to go back to the gouache color here, and we'll finish up the clock here. So we need white for that, which we have. That's for the clock face. Then the clock front is going to be brown. And then a darker brown for the top part. I don't know what kind of clock this is. This looks like a house. It's not a cuckoo clock or anything like that, but okay, now we're going to go to black. And for this one, I'm going to have to, I don't really think I could leave the gouache and do that just because you're not going to be able to tell. We'll leave it. That's good enough. And again, the time is 12:15 on the clock. Now we'll get to the hand railing. Right, and then the wooden floor comes out here. And we're going to do a little bit of a darker brown for the actual floorboards. And the musical dancing Santa sticker is yellow. Okay, and I don't think this is probably not going to show up just because of how small this is, but it does just say musical. Dancing Santa. Okay, now we'll go to red and we're going to work on the house and everything around that. So we'll open that up a little bit more. That might be too much, just because I don't really want to go out of the lines too bad on this. The front of this drawer is red. Let's do the white lines of the brick while we're right here. I want to make that a little bit smaller. Once this thing comes out for display at my parents' house this Christmas, I'll take a picture of it and I'll post it up as well for reference. Okay, back to the book here. So obviously this book is white. It's a music book. I'm going to do that a couple of times just to make it really vibrant white. Because with the gouache paint, that's a little bit of a translucent, so you could see through it. So the more layers you do, obviously the darker it's going to be. So we'll leave it like that. The knob, from what I remember, is a brass type of a knob, but I don't know how to mimic brass, so we're just going to do that. Then we're going to go a little deeper for the horns. Most of the stuff down here I'm doing a couple layers just so it's not as translucent. And onto these, this outside thing, this filigree piece, if you will, is a bronze type color. So I'm just going to hit that up while we're right here. I'll do 3 layers on that to make it a little solid. Same thing over here. We'll do 3 layers. And then the inside of this filigree part is green. So we'll just draw that green. You're going to still see that red and that white through there a little bit, so I'll do a few layers. There we go. Then we'll do the holly. We're going to shrink that a little bit. And do a couple layers in the holly. Those go pretty quick because it's small. Alright, there we go. Now we're going to just decorate the tree a little bit before we work on Santa. So I'm just going to add a few bits and lights and ornaments on this tree just to fill it out a little bit. Again, the actual one probably looks a little bit different than this, but it's the gist of it. You're getting the point. I'm going to do a little very minuscule shadow work on it just because there isn't really too much, but I always like doing a few layers. So I have to add a little bit of depth to this piece. So with this, I'm going to just add just a couple things to the tree just to kind of give it a little bit of shape. Same thing with the knob here on the banister. And the clock will add a little bit of shadowing. Not too much. I think that looks good. And again, with the roof line with that snow, that's kind of glittery, so we're going to add a little sparkle to that. So I think I'm going to do the background a color, and then I'll add the sparkle on the top. But in the meantime, I guess I could autofill it white and see what happens. So let me go to this color layer, autofill it. Perfect. Then I'm going to turn off the pencil layer for there, and we're kind of just left with that. Kind of how I was thinking it would look. Then we're going to turn on the pencil layer for Santa. And this color layer, we're going to drop the opacity down. And we're going to work on Santa here. So let's turn Santa down a little bit. We're going to add a new layer. Go to black. And then again, I'm thinking maybe he doesn't get outlined either. But while I have it on black, I'll just do his shoes. So I got to bring the opacity back up. There's those floppy Santa shoes. I'm going to do 2 layers just because they are pretty solid. They kind of look like socks, but that's what they look like in the actual thing. We'll do his belt while we're right here with the black. We'll do 2 passes on that. Then we're going to go to green. We'll give him his gloves. There's one glove. Two gloves, and while we're right here, let's darken it up a little bit for this tree. For whatever reason, he's holding a little tiny tree. Now we're going to go to red. We're kind of working a little bit backwards with Santa, but that's okay. Normally I would do like the skin tone and all that stuff first, but we're going to work on the suit here. I'm going to leave the cuffs open because I'm going to do white on top of those for that layer. I'm just going to do one pass on the red. I don't really want it to be too solid. Now if I lift up the pencil that I'm using and I touch it down again, it's going to, make that color a little bit darker, which we're not looking for that look today. So, and his beard's going to fill that in. So we'll get that little part there I left. I think I'm going to leave it open. All right. Then the pants should be the last red thing here. And they're going to have a little bit of white fluff on the bottom as well, above the boots. There we go. Now we're going to do the gold belt buckle while we're right here. And do a couple passes on that just because I don't really want to see my mess ups behind it. Now, while we have the yellow, we're going to do the bell. I think it's a bell anyway. It's got a pink ribbon on it. And a pink bow. All right, now we're going to go to the flesh tone that they use for Santa's face here. And again, he's also going to be rosy cheeked, so I'm not going to do too much of this color because he is quite rosy on the cheeks and the nose. So the nose, a little more red like that. Some rosiness on the cheeks here. The inside of his mouth. And we're going to go to white. I like to go to this screen because I could get pure white easily rather than off the disc. It's kind of tough to get in the right spot. So we're going to do the eyes here and the eyebrows. Because don't forget now, when I turn off the pencil for this layer, you're not going to see a lot of the outline. It's just going to be color. So it's going to look a lot different once I turn that off. All right. So let's do the hat. And I'm curious what it's going to look like. So that's why I kind of have to probably turn the pencil off. But I might actually leave the pencil on for Santa. I don't know. I got to see what it's going to look like either way. Because if I turn it off, it might look real weird. That's one of the good things about doing them on a separate layer. I could leave it on. Okay, we'll work on the fluff there and the fluff down here. And now, let me go back to this pink. Now that I got that fluff in, and just do this ribbon. Kind of went around his hand. All right, eyes. I'm going to do those quick, and then I'm going to play around with this pencil layer and see what I could do. Let's shrink that white down. I'm going a little long tonight. I knew that was going to happen with this piece. It's a little more detailed than what I normally do for a live video. Okay, so what I'm going to do is turn up the color opacity here. And I'm going to play around with this Santa here real quick. If I turn off the pencil, you really could see through him a lot. I don't know if I really like the look of that. So the pencil opacity is going to get turned down quite a bit. I think we'll leave it like that. All right. So that is Musical Dancing Santa. Let me put on these. Again, there's a couple little clips for where he's jointed and dances. Don't remember where they all are. I'm going to do a couple randoms there. Okay. So one thing I wanted to do, since it is a 3D object, or as my older brother would say, 3D, we're going to do a light layer of shadow behind him. That's a little too big. I just want it to do a little bit just so he kind of pops off the background a bit. All right. Really toying around with this idea here. Getting rid of that. I think I'm going to keep it off. All right, we'll do a little bit of shadowing on the house. Then I will color the background, do the roof, sign it, and get out of here. It's a little bit longer today. Sorry about that. Okay. So that's going to do it for the actual piece. Something's still bugging me though. I want to see if I could do something else here. So let me drop that down. I want to take a section of something. I want to see if I could take a section of the stuff that's behind Santa. And I don't know if I could lighten it up. I want to try that. Let me go. All right, let me see what that will do. Yeah, that didn't it didn't work. It actually just did it on the Santa part. So we're going to pretend that never happened. Oh, actually, no, hold on. What did I turn off? There we go. All right. I think that looks a little bit better. All right. So what I have to do then is I need to go to this layer and erase the shadows behind Santa, and then I'll be happy. That looks a little better. Yeah. All right. I'm happy with that. Okay. So for the background, let me make sure I'm going to just start a whole new layer here. I'm going to put it behind everything. And for a color for this guy, let's see. I'm just going to drop some colors in here. That looks gross. All right. We'll keep it with a purple like that, because now I'm going to add sparkle to the whole roof. So I want to turn the reference off, go back to this, go to pure white, and I'm going to go to luminance. We'll do glimmer. And let's see. That's a lot. So we got to shrink that down a little bit. That's still a whole bunch. All right, so we're going to add that. Then we'll do a couple of bigger ones. Not like the stuff flies off of it, but it catches your eye. Yeah, that'll work. All right, now we're going to sign the piece down on the bottom. I'll keep it on white because I usually never autograph in white. But we'll do that, and then we'll be out of here. So, that's a little too large there. All right, so we got October. And today's the 5th. (2022). And that is the 1960s Dancing Santa music box. Again, check out my social media come Christmas time at Ague Designs, AGUEDESIGNS. I'll put a picture of the real thing up once it gets displayed at my parents' house. For more Christmas goodness, check out that Instagram feed every day for a Christmas drawing on there every day. And I will be back here next Wednesday for another live drawing. If you like what you see, you could send an email. Let me know if there's any ideas you want, and I could look at doing something like that for the future. But until next week, thanks for watching, and I will see you later.